Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be a kind of a mid-year like reading wrap up, kind of, since it's kind of the middle of the year. Well, it's the middle of June, so it's somewhat in the middle of the year. But yeah, I thought why not do a little wrap up of the books that I've read so far. Because I've read a bit. How many have I actually read in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, kind of 15 books, because I read half of the first one and then I'm like 3/4 through another one, so kind of 15. So yeah, let's get into this. I've got my sheets of paper that helped me through this. But yeah, let's get through it. So let's get started. So I started reading this in December last year and then had to finish it in January. So I was halfway through Meet Me in London by Georgia Toffolo at the start of the year. So then I finished this one, and then, sorry if you can hear coughing, that is my sister. She's working from home, so you might hear her coughing. Yeah, I gave this 2 stars and a 1 on the spice level. But yeah, this one was just one that I needed to finish this year and stuff. And then my next book was actually the next book in that series, which is Meet Me in Hawaii, which I also read in January and got it done in January. And this was a 2 in stars and a 1 in the spice level. And then I went on in February is when I started my my book determines my name video. Is when I started filming that, which was what, 2 Wednesdays ago that was posted, and somewhat nearly done, like 2 weeks ago. And that it was Summer at the Chateau. I was gonna say something else then. I was gonna say Meet Me In again. I read Summer at the Chateau to start that book by Jennifer Ponette. I might be butchering that, but I read this one, which I think is kind of like a romancy one, or a fiction. Well, it is a fiction, but I don't know if it what. But yeah, this one was 3 stars with no spice and stuff. And I've done that one, and then I read that one in like February, and then also in February I read A Tale of Two Kitties, which was also for the same video, which is a non-fiction, which I think I managed to read a bit fast. And then also I didn't rate this one because it was a non-fiction, so yeah, there's that one. And then after that I went on to Magnolia Parks, which I think this is the point where it might have dipped into another video as well while kind of reading this one. I read this one at the end of February, the start of like March kind of, and in towards the end of March I think. I don't know if it was this book or the next book in this video, like series link kind of thing, or video, I mean not series, where I hit the point where I ended up filming a different reading video for like a day. So I kind of put this like video down to then film that video and stuff, so I don't know if it was between this book or the other book. But yeah, but in March I read Magnolia Parks and I started this series, and that which I gave 4 stars and a 2 on the spice level for this and stuff. And then I then done another reading video, which was just reading for 24 hours straight, where I read like some of the random books I had on my TBR. So I read the Racing Legends Lando Norris book in March, and that I basically just read this all in one day because it was a short little thing, which I did not rate because I'm like, it's technically non-fiction, it's just a random book about Lando. So yeah, didn't rate it. And then after that one, I read Formula 1 Drive to Survive, which I also got, which is another random one, which was also part of the reading for 24 hours, which was also on the same day in March, and I just didn't rate because it was about Formula 1 and stuff, and it's not really a fictional book, so I tend not to rate non-fictional books. So yeah, and that was that one. And then there was, I think this was like the last random non-fiction book on my TBR, so I read this one as well, which is The Checkered Flag, which was 100 Years of Motor Racing, and I read this massive one, which is going to be fun trying to put on my bookshelf somewhere. But yeah, so I have that one. In fact, I think this will go under my bed, not on my bookshelf actually. But yeah, I obviously read this in the same time, and I didn't rate this one either. Then I also, in the same video, ended up reading Meet Me in Tahiti and stuff. And then, well, it was partly the same day, partly the next day of reading them ones as well. This one was like my middle of the night one to start doing and reading and stuff, that I'd done, which was 4 stars and 3 on the spice level, in that one. Then this is where it gets all muddled up into each other. Now, I started this in March and then stopped, so I read it for like the last remaining whatever I had, like minutes or hours or whatever it was. I think it was a couple of hours or so left on my reading for 24 hours. I started reading Meet Me at the Wedding. Then once that was done, I put this book down, went back to my name determines reading video, tried to do as much of that as I could, put a pause on I think I ended up getting to like the last book, then put a pause on reading that one while I went down my nan and granddad's for 2 weeks and went on a mini holiday with my mum. I'm kind of just giving you guys like what I done that week, kind of like an update, where I then took this book and another book, which I started reading and stuff. So I ended up finishing this one in May. But yeah, so there was that. So I didn't technically read this in like April, or didn't take me like a couple months to read it. It was just I put it down to film the other video with reading all the other books, and then ended up picking this one up afterwards. But yeah, so I started it in March, finished it in May, and then I gave it 3 stars and a 1 on the spice level. Then I went obviously back to my name determines reading video after I finished my reading streak video. I don't know if I was partway through this book or Magnolia Parks, but the next book is A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I read this in March and April. Well, towards the end of March I started it, and then the beginning of, well, mid-March, end of March, and then towards the beginning of April, I started A Court of Thorns and Roses to start this series. But yeah, so there's this one, which I gave 2 stars and a 3 on the spice level. Then on to my only 5-star of the year so far, which I think when I bought this for the video, for the My Name Determines the Books I Read, because I needed an N, I think when I bought it and saw it, I thought I was gonna rate it highly anyway, and stuff, and I purely did just buy it because I'm into 911 at the moment, the TV show, which is about firefighters and stuff, and the guy is a firefighter, so yeah. But I then read Not How I Saw That Going in April. I think this only took me like a couple of days to read, purely because I was busy doing other stuff, I think. So yeah, read this one, gave it 5 stars. Obviously there was no like spice, so it's just like a fluffy kind of no spicy romance, which is really nice, and that since it's like a mum with her son and stuff, and then yeah, which they then end up meeting him in a grocery store, or shop should I say. I say shop, this is American so it's grocery store, but yeah. And yeah, I read that book, then went on to the Jane Austen book club in April as well. Didn't enjoy this book as much. I don't know if it was because I was still like hungover and thinking about the first of the book, the Not How I Saw This Going one, or not, I don't know. But this one was a 1 star and 1 on the spice level. Then on to Hugs, and I just said it wrong again. I can't be bothered to try and look up how to say that word with this one, and Kisses, which that just means like cozy and stuff in Danish. But yeah, so there was like this one, which I read in April as well, where it was 3 stars and 0 on the spice level. And then slowly went on to my last book, which, well, the last book of that video of My Name Determines What I Read, which is a thick one, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. So I read this towards the end of April, I think I started it, and then it took me throughout May, apart from like the 2 weeks where I was like down my nan and granddad's, because I just didn't want to end up like finishing reading this and then have to like film for that video while I was down there or on like that mini holiday. So I just left it at home and took the other 2 books, which the second book of that one is about to be said in a bit. But yeah, so I'd read this one and then finished it like the end of May, I think it was, which was like obviously a few days before that video needed to go live and be uploaded. But this one was a 4 star with a 4 in spice rating for me. And then onto the video, well the book, I mean, that I started, I think I started it while I was on that mini holiday with my mum, I think actually. So I started Daisy Hates, which was obviously the second book in the Magnolia Park series. This one is the one that I'm like partly in the middle of, like towards the end of. So hopefully I can get this read. Well, I will get this read and finished this month. And then I'll be starting the third book in the series. But yeah, so I'm on to this one. I started it, when did I go away? Was it the, no, it wasn't the 11th. It was the 9th, I think it was. The 9th of May I ended up starting this one. Read it for the time I was down at my nan and granddad's until I came back, which was like the 17th or something, I think it was. Obviously there was days where I didn't read it, and then stopped it when I got home, read the other book, read this one, and then eventually went back to reading this one once I had finished that one. But yeah, so that is the books I have been reading so far. This one I'm actually really into at the moment, so it is getting decided between a 4-star and a 5-star at the moment. I'm not sure, so yeah, I'm not sure on which one I want to give it yet, so I might have another 5-star of the year, I'm not sure. But yeah, they are the books I have read so far this year, which actually marks off a few off my TBR, which is obviously great, but most of them got knocked off, obviously, my TBR by me doing 2 reading videos. So that's why I've read quite a bit of the books, which I think is why there's a lot of books that I've read so far, was because of them videos. But yeah, so that is what I've read so far. I think I've got like 6 more books on my TBR to read, which is weird to think about now at this moment in time, that I only have 6 left on my TBR and we're only halfway through the year. So yeah, I've got like the last 6 of the Magnolia Park series and the last 6 of the ACOTAR series. So yeah, the last 3 of each, I mean, left on my TBR. So yeah, obviously I'll probably end up going through all these books again, like the start of next year when I do my full year wrap up, and that with the other books on my TBR and any other books I end up reading, because I know that I've got a couple more like book videos coming. I think I've got a couple more like reading-y videos. I think I've got a couple blind dates with a book that I'm going to be doing, so I'm going to obviously be reading them. I've got the 6 books on my TBR, and then I think I'm going to do like a couple like reading vlogs throughout the year, or the rest of the year, and like reading week kind of things. So I'll possibly end up having to pull from my normal, like, not this year's TBR, but that just like my normal TBR that I have under my bed, and just pull from them books and read. So yeah, I will see you guys Sunday for a vlog, and then next Wednesday for a video, which I think is a vlog style video actually. But yeah, so I will see you guys then. Bye.